Next up on the agenda, we have a rising young star from New York City, from TruthSquad.tv. Please welcome Danny Panzella.
It's difficult being one of the last speakers because everybody who has gone before you has basically eaten up all of your points. You have nothing left original to say. So I'm Danny from New York City. I'm involved in a lot of different organizations. We Are Change is one of them. I'm somewhat active with the Ron Paul headquarters there. But something that Derek and I started together, and a few others, was the Occupy the Fed group. All over the planet, we've had these revolutions, the Arab Spring, and these, in Iceland, the people were rebelling against bailing out the banks. In Greece, and all of these countries are starting to have all these uprisings because of what the bankers have done. What the global central banking system, because this is just a small part of a global system. People are finally starting to wake up, but not in the United States. We're too comfortable. We can still put gas in our SUVs, and we still watch our flat screens. So I think until we get a lot more uncomfortable, it's going to be very difficult to wake people up. But with that said, there are a lot of powerful ideas that were represented here today on how you can wake people up. You know, I want to say about Catherine and John, these are very dear friends of mine, and they have had such a profound impact on my life. Catherine 2 years ago gave a speech at an event that I was helping to organize in New York City, and when she started her speech, I was very angry with her, because she started out by saying Ron Paul is not the answer and he's not going to save us, and I said, why is she saying that? We need Ron Paul. And by the end of her speech, I literally had tears in my eyes, and she inspired me to, in New York City, start my own little sustainable urban garden, and I now raise chickens in New York City. So, I mean, it's even in New York City, it's possible to do this type of stuff. So, I mean, I am totally in agreement with all the things that they said about creating communities that are outside of the matrix, if you will. But I have not completely given up on the matrix yet, although I'm almost there. I'm almost ready to move down here and just start a farm because I'm so frustrated. So I woke up as during the bailout mess just a few years ago, and I started to do research, and I came across Ron Paul, and you know, now I know everything that we all know about the Fed and fractional reserve and fiat currency and all those things. Aside from you know, getting off the grid, I've closed my bank account about a year ago. So that's important. And I don't use a credit union. They may or may not be better, I don't know. But, you know, I guess it's a step in the right direction. So, I was very heavily involved in the Tea Party. And when Occupy Wall Street started 2 months ago, I went down there, and I was excited because finally the Tea Party disappointed me. Because they got up and they went to political rallies and they waved flags and signs and they said a lot of really great things. But it stopped there. When the rally was over, they went home. And yes, they went to the voting box and they voted in people that pretended to be Tea Party candidates and believe in the ideals of the Tea Party, and then almost every single one of them has now, in the past year, sold them out on every one of those values. I receive a lot of media attention in my area because my Congressman Grimm was one of these Tea Party infiltrators, or Teocon, or whatever label you want to put on him. And he came in and said, I'm a constitutionalist and I agree with you guys, and every vote he has cast, every single vote he has cast has been with the Republican establishment. So day one, I went down to Occupy Wall Street, and I said, okay, this is better. This is the Tea Party, but it's better because they're actually taking action. They're going to do something. And I think there's a place for both. I think there's a place for all those different types of activism, right? Ron Paul, we do need Ron Paul. Ron Paul will make some, if he's elected, or even if he isn't. His campaigns wake up a lot of people. He's a gateway drug, I like to say. He kind of gets you in the door of liberty, and then eventually you get to where John is, and then we continue on even further into liberty's the ultimate expression of liberty, which is truly living free without fear of the system, without any kind of dependence on the system. So Derek and I started talking, and we said, listen, we need to redirect, because there's a lot of great energy here, and there's a lot of momentum with Occupy Wall Street. And these are young people, these are millennials and Gen Xers who are willing to take radical action. But for the most part, they seem to want bigger government to solve the problem of big government. So we said, look, the Fed is really the issue that Occupy Wall Street needs to be concerned about, because they're all about corporatism. When you ask them, when you go down there and they say, oh, we're against capitalism, we want to get rid of capitalism, and you ask them why, what is it that you don't like about capitalism? And the problem that they describe is not capitalism at all. What is capitalism? It's just trade. So the problem that they're really describing is corporatism, which all starts with the monopoly that everybody has so eloquently described, and I don't need to. So we started out with just a few people. There was, in New York City, there was about 5 or 6 of us. Some of us were constitutionalists, Ron Paul Republicans. Some of us were voluntarists, libertarians. And we started going down every day to Occupy Wall Street and talking to people about the Fed. There was a lot of resistance. And even today, a lot of the kind of power structures that have sprung up in Occupy are very resistant to the message. When you say to a leftist, I want to end the Fed, what they hear is, you want to end all regulation and allow the banks to do whatever they want. Because they're believing the lie that the Fed is a regulatory agency that controls the banks and keeps them from harming us. So what we've done is reach across that left versus right paradigm and just say, even though we disagree with your solutions, some of them are advocating for socialism in different forms, or some of the radicals want communism, they want to abolish capitalism. We disagree with your solutions, but we do agree with you on the problem. And when you listen to somebody, there's a cliche or a saying that says, people don't care what you know until they know how much you care. So if you go down to Occupy Wall Street and you speak to these leftists as human beings, as equals, with respect, and you listen to what is really in their heart, they want the same thing that the Tea Party wants. They want the same thing that Ron Paul supporters want. They want freedom and equality. So when you can build a rapport based on that common ground, now you can start to have an open dialogue about the problems with the system. You can discuss force. That's a great topic to reach leftists, is force, because many of them are pacifists and they're pro-peace. So when you can explain to them the non-aggression principle and these types of concepts, they're very open to it, and you'll see light bulbs go off. So I guess my message really is that we need to deal with people as human beings and not with the labels that the system wants to put on us. You know, you're a Tea Party or you're a Occupy Wall Street commie. Because the system knows the moment that the left and the right join forces, it's over for the system. It's done. It's game over. Somebody had a sign that it's game over when you end the Fed. When the left and the right, when the grassroots, and I'm not talking about the operatives, there are operatives in both the Tea Party, the Koch brothers and Soros. Those are real influences that are trying very hard and spending a lot of money on media propaganda to make sure that the left and the right never join forces. So I took a lot of heat from a lot of people, especially in the Tea Party. Oh, what are you going down there? They're just commies. I refuse. I won't work with commies. And it's that attitude it's based on ego, right? Mm-hmm. I know better than you. Socialism isn't the answer. So I don't even need to deal with you. But where does it get us? It just keeps us divided. So I guess unity is really the message that I want to get out, and that's something that I've been trying to do at Occupy Wall Street. And now we have chapters all over the country. Derek, where are you? How many chapters do we have now? There's 15 plus chapters. The goal was to have a chapter for every Fed, so we've beaten that goal. And recently, Ben Bernanke was forced to respond to the Occupy the Fed movement. A reporter asked him a question about Occupy Wall Street and the accusation that the Fed is the cause of the financial problems. And the Bernanke's answer was, it's not our fault. We have nothing to do with this. If you want to go on truthsquad.tv, I've written a debunking of his answer to that. It's pretty interesting. And it's actually a great article, too, if you want to share it with anybody who doesn't understand what the Fed does, because it breaks it down. So, it's always tough to follow John Bush. So basically what I'm going to ask everybody to do is, if you haven't already, go down to Occupy Houston or wherever you're from and reach out to a leftist and have a conversation and see if not with just the agenda that you want to convert them into being a free market enthusiast, but that you want to make a real connection with them, understand what their concerns are, and then from that rapport build a relationship where at some point in the future maybe you will be able to share the truth of liberty. Because liberty is not Ron Paul's message. Liberty is not the founder's message. Liberty is a truth that has resonated in the hearts of men since men began. It is the thing that has kept humans fighting for their freedom forever. It's something that can never be it can never be dispelled. Even if Ron Paul loses the election, we can still have freedom. We can still take our freedom. So, with that said, thank you very much for being here. Give Derek and Micah and everybody else that helped organize this a big hand. It's very stressful doing these types of things. And I just want to thank everybody for having me come down from New York.